He called in early. We're going to take him right now. The general manager for your Portland Trailblazers, Joe Cronin, joining the Rip City Drive right now. Joe, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on your contract extension with the team. That's got to be pretty exciting for you.
Hey, Chad, thank you for having me, and thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. Trailblazers, we're taking pretty good steps here, and it's nice to be a part of this at least a little bit longer.
Well, I know what it's like for me when my boss sits down with me and he offers me a contract extension. It feels good just from the standpoint of, they appreciate some of the work you're doing. And I know for you, you jumped in at a time of, chaos, and to be able to work through that
Mhm.
and then have them come to you and say, hey, we like what you're doing. We want it to continue. I would imagine to have that type of support from ownership is nice.
For sure, it's great to feel that level of support, and it's great to see, all of us get, rewarded for the hard work that we're putting in, and for the solid results that we think we're starting to see.
Yeah, it's terrific. Joe Cronin is with us here on the Rip City Drive. I guess first off, just your thoughts on the season from year to year to go plus 14 in wins. How much of a surprise was that to you, especially with the surge in the second half?
hmm Was really happy to see the defensive improvement from the first half of the year to the second half of the year. It's been a big point of emphasis in ours in, the players we've acquired, but also in the style of play we're trying to implement. So to see our group get really connected and really start to thrive on that defensive side of the ball, I think that really propelled our team as a whole, and, took us to this, next phase of what we hope to be a successful rebuild.
Hey, Joe, how do you explain the defensive improvement? I think in the first half of the season, games 1-41, I think you guys were like 27th or 28th in the league in defensive efficiency. But from games 41 up until the end, we're talking about top 5 defense, which is a large
hmm
sample size. Is that just a matter of having continuity with guys playing together? Is it the development of the players? Like, what is the key to that turnaround there defensively?
And I think it's all of the above. I think definitely the group became more and more connected as the season and seasons went along. With that, we also saw a lot of player development occur, and these young guys are getting better and better and starting to come into their own and find their identity and learn what it takes on a nightly basis to, play winning basketball, specifically on the defensive side of the floor. And I think another big part of it is Chauncey and his staff really hit their stride, not just in implementing their style of play, and their defensive schemes, but also in how they were able to challenge our guys and get them to respond and hold them accountable and really instill that defensive mindset.
Joe, I've always thought that, part of the challenge of being an NBA coach is just, getting the guys to respond and play hard for you. And I thought early in the season,
Mhm.
after that rough loss to Memphis at Moda Center, I was curious to see how the guys would respond after Coach called them out for their lack of play. And then they bounced back and won back-to-back games against Minnesota. I thought that was impressive. What were your thoughts with the way that the players responded to Coach Billups and his call through through the adversity at times during the course of the season? Did you learn something about the coach and the players through that process?
Every time. It's almost, the part I was most locked in on was not what happened to us, but how we would react to it. And Chad, I think you nailed it. The way we bounced back after that Memphis loss, it showed me a lot of heart, a lot of resolve, a lot of confidence. And, we had a lot of ups and downs this season, and often I thought we bounced back soon after a downturn. I thought we really responded well, and that was encouraging just in the culture and mentality that we're trying to build.
We're talking with Trailblazers General Manager Joe Cronin here on the Rip City Drive. I know that this was mentioned in your press conference on Sunday where you and Coach were talking about the synergy between you two, and I'm just wondering if you could shed some light on that. It's nice to know that you guys are on the same page and work well together. How long have you known Coach Billups? Did you know him from your time in Denver? Because you both hail from the Colorado area. Did you know him back then?
hmm
And talk about your relationship and how well you guys work together now.
hmm Yeah, we grew up in the same area in Denver. I was a senior in high school, and he was a junior in high school, and we played against each other in the state championship.
Oh, sweet.
So Yeah, it's crazy how it all plays out. But I didn't know him all that well. I knew of him, of course, and vice versa, but didn't meet him until we played that game. And then, the rest is history. It was so cool circling back decades later and now being together, working towards the same goal, building, this team and being partners in it. And I feel very fortunate to be on his side, and vice versa. I think we work really well together. We have a great working relationship. We share a lot of the same opinions about the game of basketball, and as far as style of play, and even as we're evaluating players and that type of stuff, we have a lot of the same values that way, and it's been a blessing, and I've really enjoyed working with Chauncey.
What do you remember about that game? How much of a killer basketball player was he back then when you faced up with him?
He was significantly better than the rest of us.
It probably didn't take you long to figure that out, did it?
No, it didn't take long, and we knew it going in, and you really know it when you're playing against him. And the funny thing is, he was so much better than everybody else, but it was like that from when he was a freshman. He was the best player by far in the state as a freshman, let alone as a junior when I ran into him. And of course, he went on and had a Hall of Fame career. So it's fun, from Denver, which isn't a basketball powerhouse, but it was cool seeing a player of that caliber come through our city.
Well, it's pretty cool. I used to live in Denver before I moved out to the Northwest like you guys, and I have family in the Denver area, and they're always asking me about Chauncey because he is revered there in the Rocky Mountains, which is pretty cool. I wanted to ask you, Joe, about the young players, and I've talked with you about them throughout the course of the season, but if you can just give me a quick snapshot on what you saw with their development, because with the fans I talked to and the energy and vibe around the franchise right now, I think people are really excited about what the young guys did throughout the course of the season. Let's start with Scoot Henderson. What did you think about his development, and what did you see throughout the season with him that you were excited about?
Yeah, was really pleased with the season Scoot had, specifically in his comfort level. I thought that increased significantly as time went on. The point guard spot is a tough one to navigate, especially as a young player, and watching him figure it out and get his pace in order and watch his skill set develop, as far as his, comfort level as a playmaker off the bounce, reading pick and rolls, making open shots, finishing at the rim better. I was really happy to see Scoot take steps in all those regards. But I think the part about Scoot's season that probably doesn't get talked about as much, I was really happy with the way he guarded this year. And his physicality and his toughness, and obviously, he's a really high-level athlete. And then watching him, learn to navigate the defensive side of the ball, I was excited about that, and I'm looking forward to seeing him do a lot more of that.
All right, Shaedon Sharpe showed flashes of brilliance. I love the way he responded to being benched by Coach Billups. What did you see from Shaedon throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, I thought Shaedon had a great third year. He's obviously the second year was shortened with the injury, but I love seeing Shaedon, take that next step. When you're a ball handling guard that is asked to do a lot of different things, we've seen his role change and evolve over time, and I continue to be encouraged, as he's, doing more and more things on the offensive side of the floor. He's initiating and pick and rolls. He's becoming a good spot up shooter. Obviously, he's a really dynamic athlete around the hole, and I think it's been talked about a lot, the way he's finishing around the basket and, just really putting pressure on the rim. He's doing a great job there. And then Chad, like you said, Coach called him out and challenged him defensively, and I thought he responded really well. We all know he's very capable of being a high-end defender, and I thought we saw more and more of that as the season went on.
All right, what about the rookie Donovan Clingan? I know you guys were thrilled to get him on draft night. As the season went along, he got more playing time and his conditioning ramped up. What did you see from him?
Yeah, got more and more comfortable, and I'll say that a lot about young guys. It's just that those first year or two, it's them adapting to the speed and skill and length of the NBA on an NBA floor. It's complicated, and I thought the game really slowed down for Donovan as the season went along, and as his conditioning got better and better, and as he started facing teams and players multiple times, you just saw his comfort level continue to increase. And I mean, obviously, he's already a very, very good defender, and now we're starting to see some offensive competency that we had seen flashes from him in college. We're starting to see that, hit the floor where obviously his offensive rebounding is huge for us, but also I thought he showed a lot as a passer, and as a finisher, I thought he improved like his pace around the hole. He's doing a better job scoring with both hands in a crowd, and in time we'll see him make more and more threes, which hopefully will add to his level of a threat as an offensive player.
Now, Joe, Deni Avdija, he's so much fun to watch, and I was blown away by all the different things he was able to do. I don't know if he exceeded your expectation. He was tremendous this year, but what'd you see from Deni?
Love seeing Deni's usage increase significantly and his efficiency increase with it. That's such a hard thing for a young player to do. When you put the ball in their hands and ask them to do a lot, and then they ramp up their efficiency right alongside of it. And I thought that was such a huge development for Deni that, okay, he can be a lead guy, have the ball in his hands in a lot of different complicated situations and continue to produce really efficiently. And it's exciting just seeing Deni take that step and knowing he's still got many more steps he can take.
Yeah, we forget this. He's still young as well. 24 years old? You would think that he's got plenty of
Mm-hmm.
time to develop. Now, his front court mate, Camara, one of the, making that push for Defensive Player of the Year and really starting to showcase what he can do on that end of the floor, but also added some on the offense. What did you think about Tamani's development in year two with the team?
Love seeing that year-to-year improvement from Tamani. And it's interesting because, he had that injury at the end of last season that basically kept him off the basketball court until July. He was able to do some light shooting and stuff like that, but he didn't really get to get after it last summer until halfway through the summer. And yet we still saw a ton of improvement. Like you said, Chad, obviously an all-league defender already, but, I mean, shooting the ball with confidence, playing off the move some now, another offensive rebound machine. So the stuff that he's got done on both ends of the floor on a off season work schedule, it was really exciting. I can't wait to see the work he gets in when he gets the opportunity to have a full summer like this year.
We're talking with Trailblazers General Manager Joe Cronin here on the Rip City Drive. So we're getting ready for the off season. What's the climate like around the league as teams continue to learn about the new CBA and its impact? How has this had an impact on just getting things done?
Mm-hmm. I think teams are learning to navigate it. It's of course I think we see this in each new CBA, at least ones that have somewhat significant changes, that it takes teams a little while to acclimate to that new climate or be a little more conservative than normal. So, as teams recalibrate, okay, what are these new rules? How do they limit us, or how do they prevent us from doing certain things that we want to do? And how do we value these contracts, and how do we appropriately rate what the value of picks are or young players? I think teams are still trying to figure all that out, but I think over time we've seen teams get more and more comfortable, and I expect that to continue, that as we just adjust to these new norms.
Hey, Joe, how would you describe this year's draft? I'm well aware of the top 4 players and the quality of those guys at the top, but overall, what do you think about this year's crop?
Liking the depth. It's a good draft. From everything we're seeing, it's looking to be, whether we move up in the lottery, we like the top 4, or if we stay put at that 9-10 range, we're going to be happy there as well. We're liking the depth of this draft.
Hey, Joe, you mentioned this, but I wanted you to expand on it a bit. I know last year was frustrating from the standpoint that you had so many guys in and out of the lineup that it was hard for you to get valuable data on your players and what you had on the roster. You compare that to this year with the relative health and the guys who were able to play extended minutes. How much data were you able to collect throughout the course of this season, and how helpful is that as you get ready for the offseason?
Yeah, quite a bit. We've seen most of our guys, all of our core guys got north of 1,000 minutes each at least, some double and 1.5 times that. So we were able to see these guys playing a lot of different lineups, playing a lot of different situations, playing a lot of different roles, and it was really helpful. It allows us now to, understand that, okay, this is what this group is capable of, and now we can be a lot more intentional about the type of player we're adding, whether it's, we need this certain type of skill set or we need this certain type of personality. We can be more intentional and start shaping this roster that fits this core group of players that we have.
Hey, Joe, I wondered if you could, we've talked about this a little bit, but I think it's important for people to understand, but your role as general manager since you've taken over, can you talk about how supportive Jody Allen has been during your tenure with the team when it comes to whatever it is that you need to get done in that process?
Sure. I've really enjoyed working for Jody. She's been awesome and a great leader for us. It's the help she provides, the intellectual support that she gives me, constantly being a great sounding board and challenging me and getting me to think about, things in different ways, or questioning, hey, is this a better thought than this, or is this a better approach than this? Like, the way she challenges me has been incredibly helpful. And then, of course, financially, since I took over, we've made so many changes within our organization. She's been really supportive in helping me out a really high-end staff, from right out of the gate, added 3 really good assistant general managers, Andre Patterson, Mike Schmitz, Sergio Oliva, completely reworked our health and performance department, added the Rip City remix, revamped our kitchen, our whole food program. And she just keeps investing in this team. And it's been incredible that, basically when we need something, she's right there for us, whether it's, from her point of view or her perspective, or, financially, if we need to change something, she's right there for us. So it's been, we feel really lucky to have Jody.
That's great. I've just got a few more questions for you. Speaking of the remix, how helpful has it been to have a G League team here in town and the benefits of that for what you're trying to accomplish?
It's been great. We love the remix, and I don't know if everyone knows this, but they practice at our practice facility, which we consider a huge advantage. That the remix players, they feel like they are a part of the Trailblazers. And so, they're there with us every day, being in our building, using our same equipment, and of course, playing in our city, and those 2 teams being able to cross over quite a bit and support each other. And we've had great attendance at our remix games as far as our players going, and Trailblazer staff, and I love going to remix games. So that's been great. But then, of course, the player development component, being able to get our 2-ways a ton of run with the remix, and any guys that we assign from the Blazers to the remix, and getting them extra repetitions and run or practices. It's been incredibly valuable. And also, just as an innovation lab, we've tried to do a lot of out-of-the-box experimenting with the remix that is helping shape some of the decisions the Trailblazers have made, and will make. So it was a critical addition to us, and we're just getting started with the remix and hope that it'll continue to add more and more value.
Now, Joe, I love people's stories. Everyone's got a story, and I didn't know this until a couple of weeks ago when I found out that you started out as an intern with the Trailblazers back in 2006. And you were like the classic intern, like I was in radio, where you weren't making any money and you were willing to do whatever it took for your living expenses and just to find a way to get through to give yourself an opportunity in basketball. What was that process like to go from that up into doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, an awesome ride and adventure, and a very challenging one. Since I was a kid, like when people would say, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" My answer was always be an NBA general manager.
That's great.
So I told myself I was just finishing up grad school, didn't have a job, didn't know what I was going to do. Learned about this internship in Portland, basketball operations internship that was available. Was lucky enough to get it. Came up to Portland, worked for free for a year, and just grinded away and refereed basketball at night and racked up credit cards just trying to pay bills. And, I think a lot of people have been through this, and just, did whatever I could to make my mark. And I was just hoping at the end of the internship that they'd give me a longer opportunity and bring me on in some capacity. And it worked out that way. And then over time, I was really fortunate to work for really good people that were really talented, that cared about me and were willing to teach me things, and they believed in me and gave me all these opportunities. And for me, I really feel like it was the right place at the right time. And then I had the right mentality and right skill set to where I was just kept learning and chopping away at different jobs and just kept fine tuning my skill set. And then finally made it up to this level as general manager and felt, extremely fortunate. And it was a really cool moment for me, that knowing that this was a lifelong dream. So that for me, that was great. And now my goal is just, okay, let's do the best job possible at this dream job.
Yeah, I love the story. That's awesome. And the ground cover work to get to that point. I got one more question. So
Thank you.
what does your schedule look like now with, you've got the lottery coming up on May 12th and the draft coming up in
hmm
June? Like, what are some of the different things you're going to be focused on and doing over the next, 6 to 8 weeks?
Sure. A lot of it's getting this next year's roster built. These next 3 months are big ones for the Trailblazers. Like you said, Chad, we got the lottery first, and then in between the lottery and or in between mid-May and mid-June, we'll just do a ton of draft prep, ton of talking to other teams, seeing what their goals are going into the off season and into the draft and free agency, seeing what deals are available, and then do the draft, do free agency, any trades that come along. So just really working towards getting the team in as good a shape as possible going into next season.
That's great. It's Trailblazers General Manager Joe Cronin with us. Well, Joe, congratulations on the extension. I'm excited about that. And thank you for the time that you share with me throughout the course of the year when I'm peppering you with questions and being patient with me. I thank you.
I love it, Chad. Thank you for having me.
You got it. There's Joe Cronin, Trailblazers General Manager here on the Rip City Drive. You got to love that process. You come in as an intern in '06, and I think the benefit of that is that he had a chance to do a little bit of everything within the organization. So you're learning everything about how an NBA team works. You put in the time. He did odd jobs, refereeing and other things, ran up credit card debt. He did whatever he could to have an opportunity to be a part of the franchise, and that's exactly what he did. And he continued to grind and do it, which is great. So love to hear that story. And I'm excited that the team has got Joe Cronin on an extension, and they've got Chauncey Billups on an extension. So now they have everything set, and they enter into the offseason with the next big date coming up on May 12th with the NBA Draft Lottery. So big thanks to Joe Cronin. You can always podcast. Just go to the iHeartRadio app or go to ripcityradio.com. But big thanks to Joe Cronin, Trailblazers General Manager, for joining the Rip City Drive.